And through the power of video enhancing magic, there it is, completely sealed. What's going on, everybody? Rob here. Today I'm going to plastic weld the crack in this dog crate right here. There's a crack right here. Try to get close right there. You can see it, okay? I got some wire, some cage that I cut down already. I got some epoxy. Now I really don't like this one because it's not the self-mixer one. If you're gonna get epoxy, always get these self-mixers because they're so much easier. But I'm using this on a fish tank. The plastic broke, that's why I'm using that. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use some propane right here and propane accessory, and I got this right here to push it when I start melting it. What you're gonna have to do is form your little piece of metal right here that you're gonna push into where you're gonna go. So this is a crack right here, right? Goes all the way through. This is the hinge part. You can flip the door around the other way if you want, but right now this is the upside down. So this is the bottom part of the crate. So we gotta heat this up a little bit, and I got a hot glove on the camera that I'm holding the hand. And what I'm gonna try to do is, if I get this to stick right here, you gotta heat it, blow on it, get it to stick right there. Heat it, blow on it to get it to stick, and then you could get all the way around. So that's what I'm gonna try to show you doing right now. I did the same process to a rain barrel that somebody was throwing away, and after I put the epoxy on it, the rain barrel held with all the water. Alright, so you can see right there. What I'm gonna try to do is, this is regular propane, and all you want to do is get a little bit of it stuck. Melt enough of it where you can get it stuck in place. It'll melt right in there and hold. See? It's already holding right there. Let me show you. It's already holding. So you're going to do that little by little all the way around. And why I'm not doing this on the inside of the crate is because I don't want the dog or anybody to get cut on this. This is the bottom part. And you try to push it enough in the plastic that it holds, but you gotta blow on it so it don't pop back out. You gotta cool it off. If you let it off too fast, it's gonna not hold. See, just that little bit, let it all up again. I'm gonna go to another part further down. Okay, so that's kind of in place right there. Now I'm gonna, since that's still hot, I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna work a little bit further down now. It goes in pretty fast when everything's warmed up. We'll go to another side. Now this is going to be American Titan Rottweiler from ZTR. So it's already cracked. So as a puppy it wouldn't matter, but when a dog gets older, it'll matter. See, it's going in all around. So I'm going to get this stuck in really good before I epoxy it. I'm getting it, pushing it in the corner right now. Alright, so right here the plastic's really soft right there, so I'm just going to hold that in place for a while, but you can see all the rest of it is getting stuck in there pretty good. And then after it's all the way cooled down, all the way tempered down, I want to mix the epoxy up and make sure the epoxy's in there really good. Now I did this to like I said, a rain barrel. Somebody threw out like an $80 rain barrel, $90 rain barrel, and I did this exact same thing to the rain barrel. And it's holding water. I don't got a light on me right now, but I do have the rain barrel over here. So this big plastic rain barrel, on the bottom of it was completely cracked across the bottom of it. So I cut some of that off right there, and I did the exact same process that I'm doing right now. But you can't let the plastic get all mushy, and you got to know once it's really piping hot, you got to stop, and you got to let it alone, let it cool off by itself, cool down, and then you could do a little bit more. To speed it up, if you spray this upside down, it freezes it. I forgot what I had. Oh, I used that to get a strip bolt off. That video is going to be somewhere out here also. Cooled it down really fast. So now I can start putting this one on right here. To where you want it, you can start, after it cools all the way down, then you start mixing your epoxy. I prefer this one. It's a self-mixing one, a Loctite, but this one, you got to mix by yourself. But this got to cool all the way down. See, it's all holding in place. But you got to make sure you epoxy around these edges really good, because you don't want nobody poking themselves on right here. If you get that put in further enough, this is thinner than the rain barrel, but if you get that put in further enough, come down here within a couple hours, you could get that all the way flush, see? But the little ends, you feel them, and somebody's gonna scratch yourselves on them, so you gotta make sure, like right here, that's all the way in, but that's still hot. So you let it takes a while because you can't melt it all the way. You gotta let it get hard again, and then put it a little bit further in, then get hard again, then let it put a little bit further in. But then whatever's sticking out or whatever, put a nice dab of epoxy and it'll dry over it so nobody scratches their finger. And people do this with their bumpers, and then they just bondo their bumpers. But that's gonna hold that together, and the epoxy is gonna hold that together, and so the dog, when it scratches or puts this crack, ain't gonna stretch anymore. So let me let this cool off, then I'll do the epoxy. I forgot about this trick also. These are leftover pieces of the when you cut off your zip ties. So then these right here you could use to melt in here also. Alright, so right now I'm gonna leave well enough alone. Let it cool down. See, this came out again. I gotta push it in with the metal piece. The other one were still soft enough. See, the plastic got too soft like that. Last time on the I did the rain barrel with thicker plastic, and that worked really good. I just melted those right on there. So this right here, I'm just holding that in place so that could stiffen up right there. Then I'm gonna epoxy this whole thing. I'm gonna use the whole tube of epoxy on it. Alright, and through the power of time manipulation, I was able to cool that down. Little dollar store thing right here. We're gonna mix the epoxy in this. Look at it. You could sand it. You could do whatever you want to that right now. Well, not right now, but give it 24 hours to dry. You could sand it down. You could sand it smooth. That thing right there ain't going anywhere. If that water barrel right there can hold 55 pounds of water on the bottom of it. Last time with that rain barrel, I was able to mix. I don't know if it's just the difference with black stuff or whatever. This is thicker. I was able to put black zip ties mixed in with it, but the brown wouldn't take the black zip ties, but it did melt the metal into it. And now that it melted the metal into it, the epoxy's holding everything together. This is just gonna set it and forget it. Now this right here is the bottom, so I'll make sure that that's smooth right there, because this is the bottom right here, and that's the bottom of the door, the bottom corner. Nobody should be around this area, but everything is inside the epoxy, so nothing should be sticking out. And at that point, if anything's sticking out, duct tape. All right, talk to you later. That's repairing plastic. Oh man, I got some right here. Repairing a plastic dog crate. But this is any kind of plastic. I normally just melt a piece of metal inside the plastic and then epoxy over it, and I never have any problems, even with water. All right, and if you can see the crack, the line was right there. That was the line right there. So all this is holding it together. All that is holding that crack together. Oh, I just put my, god dang it, I just washed my hands and just put it back in there. So this is just gonna dry. We didn't get the dog for 3 weeks, so that's gonna dry for 3 weeks. Talk to you later. Bye bye. And through the power of video enhancing magic, there it is, completely sealed. Nothing sticking out. Oh, I feel a little one right there. I told you, if that's gonna happen, I'm just gonna put a piece of tape on it. But this is completely sealed, and if there's anything sticking out, I'm just putting a little piece of tape over it now. But this is hard. This actually is harder than this. That's all epoxy closed, and that's all that plastic is melted in there and epoxy together. Strong like bull.